A pleasant good morning and welcome to Newsnet on Nokia from 99.5. Newsnet is a production of the News and Current Affairs Department at OK Communications Incorporated. Today it's Monday. It's the second day of July 2018. My name is Augustine Bilkali. Here are the top stories. Opposition politician Darius Dillon says the poor turnout at the government's Proper Day is a demonstration of disappointment as CDC partisans blast President Weah for not uttering a word to those who had gone for the occasion. 22-year-old electrocuted in Brembasa County, while unknown persons burglarized the offices of Carried in Swakopmund County, making away with several valuables. OKFM Liberia News Director Julius J. calls on national government to make available ambulances to address emergency health situation in the country while making donation to a suffering woman. Motivational speaker Stephen Koluba describes Liberia as an airplane flying 171 years but does not know where it is held in. And away from Liberia, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has decided to allow oil exploration in two protected wildlife parks, Virunga and Salonda. The News Bulletin, the voices of those making the news. Your comments are all packaged. We're taking a very short break to be right back. Thanks for rejoining us. Let's now join Olive Stevenson to bring us the News Bulletin. Good morning, Olive.
Good morning, Augustine. Good morning, everyone. Liberty Party's Vice Chairman for Political Affairs, Darius Dillon, said the turnout at the government's Proper Day held at the CDC headquarters is a demonstration of disappointment. Mr. Dillon said the turnout was very poor, suggesting that those who voted the CDC to power are frustrated over the running of the country. According to Dillon, Liberia's progress is being degenerated under the CDC-led government, and as such, no austerity measures are being instituted to stabilize the situation. The opposition politicians further intoned that things are getting dull and dingy for the ordinary people, while officials of the government luxuriously benefit from the country's wealth. Meanwhile, Dillon has revealed that President George Weah spent not less than $70,000 United States dollars on foreign travels. He said, unlike President Sirleaf, who paid for seats when traveling abroad, Dr. Weah uses charter flights, thus causing financial burden for the country. The LP stalwart has at the same time described as immaturity statements from officials of the Coalition for Democratic Change that the party will govern the state for 24 consecutive years. Some partisans of the Coalition for Democratic Change has expressed their disenchantment over the manner and form the CDC Proper Day was being celebrated. The CDC partisans stated that the essence of the Proper Day was not met, noting that President George Weah failed to utter a word to partisans who had gone on the occasion. According to them, the Liberian leader was seen playing Ludo games with senior government officials who has unhindered access to him. The partisans of the CDC who was seen murmuring at the party's headquarters over the weekend promised never to attend any event organized by the party. They noted that CDC Proper Day was stage managed by their chairman, Moba Malu. Our reporter who was at the CDC headquarters stated that President George Weah, after playing Ludo with top government officials, immediately left and entered the party's building, there where he remained until his departure for the rehab residence. A 22-year-old girl identified as Florence Toby has died from an electrocution in Brembasa County. The incident, which occurred in the Four Houses community during the weekend, was due to misunderstanding between Florence Toby and her sister, known as Hemvo Zion, over witchcraft activities. According to report, the argument later led to fighting between the two, at which time Florence is said to have struck her sister in the face and was trying to escape when she came across a current wire. The brother of the two sisters, James Toby, told police in the county that his sisters were accusing one another of being a witchcraft. A body of the late 20-year-old Florence Toby has been deposited at the local funeral plot in Buchanan. Unknown person have burglarized the office of the Central Agricultural Research Institute in Swakopmund County and made away with several amounts of United States dollars. According to report, the criminals who arrived at the Carey's compound during the night hours on Saturday broke into all of the institution's office, also made away with laptops, computers, food, and other items. Bond County Police Commander Frederick Nippe disclosed that a lady has also been arrested in connection to the burglary. Commander Nippe said the lady, identified as Christiana Flomo, is believed to be a friend to one of the criminals who has been residing with her in Swakopmund district. Meanwhile, police in the county have launched a search for the unknown criminals while the lady undergoes police interrogation in Bond County. OKFM Liberia's news director Julius Jer is calling on national government to make available ambulances to address emergency health situation in the country. Julius Jer made a call during a presentation of $66,550 Liberian dollars to Susan Conan, who lost her baby due to labor complications. Due to the lady's health situation at the government-only referral hospital JFK, this station raised money through the radio to help afford her medical bills. Julia J. added that the government should make available funding for those who cannot afford to pay their bills at the government-only referral hospital. Meanwhile, Susan Conan has extended thanks and appreciation to OKFM and those who made contributions on her behalf. Motivational speaker Stephen Koluba has described Liberia as an airplane flying 171 years but does not know where it is heading. Motivational speaker Koluba said it is decided for Liberia as a country to be tricked backward in terms of development. According to him, he is not yet convinced over the performance of the current government of President George Weah, noting that poverty is on a high increase. He spoke over the weekend at the hosting of the EFFL flag in Painesville. He at the same time admonished members of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia to remain unwavering in the champion of the cause of ordinary people. Police Inspector General Patrick Sudu says the low budgetary allotment is severely affecting the smooth operations of the Liberian National Police. Inspector General Sudu indicated that bulk of the budgetary allocations given it by the national government is for personal payment, while limited amount is spent for logistic purposes. He told an intellectual gathering over the weekend that in the midst of financial difficulty, the Liberian National Police continues to work seriously. Meanwhile, Patrick Sudu has told the gathering that the Liberian National Police is currently doing its investigation to ascertain alleged gunfire by LMP officers during the incident scene at the Badensville-Kebar community. House Speaker Dr. Buffalo Chambers has told South African ambassador accredited near Liberia, Vanapalin Mudlib, that the government of Liberia will remain committed to working with the South African government for the coexistence of the long-standing bilateral relationship between both countries. The head of the 54th National Legislature made the statement over the weekend at his Capitol building office when the South African ambassador accredited to Liberia paid a courtesy visit at the Capitol Hill office in Monrovia. Chambers, who recounted the numerous contributions of the South African government towards Liberia's rebuilding process, said the government of President Weah appreciates the tireless efforts of South African government in the reconstruction of Liberia. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, however, indicated that the coalition government is ready for business to ensuring that Liberia gets on path with its developmental programs that will bring together relief to the country's economy and its people. For his part, Ambassador Venapula Mule lauded the government of Liberia for the substance of Liberia's fragile peace after the departure of the United Nations peacekeepers from the country. Ambassador Mutley expressed hope on the utilization of whatever support that will be given to Liberia by the government of South Africa will be used overall revitalization of the country's economy after several decades of civil unrest in Liberia. The acting chairman of the District Development Council of Mansurato District 10, Edwin Goodrich, says his leadership has transformed the council to an unviable organization. Mr. Goodrich said that DDC is the most formidable in the country owing to its structure, as other councils have started modeling theirs after the DDC of District 10. He informed an OKFM interview at the weekend that they have increased seats of the council to significant numbers, reflecting participation of all stakeholders. According to him, stakeholders including motorcyclists, women, youth, religious community, and eminent persons are now form part of the council. Meanwhile, Goodrich has disclosed that election for new leadership of the DDC has been scheduled for July 15, 2015. And finally, a stalwart of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Syrian Allen, says the CDC government will provide the enabling environment where citizens are empowered. Speaking to reporters at the CDC headquarters during the event marking its Purple Day, Allen said, with the limited number of presidential appointments, everybody will not have government jobs. He mentioned that training programs, including scholarship opportunities, will be provided to Liberians under the CDC's empowerment scam. He meanwhile stated that the purple agenda of the government will focus on expenditure components geared towards empowering greater number of the citizens instead of privileged few. That's the shift of the news bulletin. Is back to you, Augustine.
Olive Stevenson with the news bulletin. Olive returns at 6:45 with the international developments. You're listening to Newsnet on OKFM 99.5. It's a production of the News and Current Affairs Department of OK Communications Incorporated. Here are the top stories you are following. Opposition politician Darius Dillon says the poor turnout at the government's Purple Day is a demonstration of disappointment by citizens as CDC partisans blast President Weah for not uttering a word to those who had gone at the occasion. 22-year-old electrocuted in Glembasa County, while unknown persons burglarized the offices of Carried in Swakopmund County, making away with several valuables. OKFM Liberia News Director Julius J. calls on national government to make available ambulances to address emergency health situation in the country while making donation to a suffering woman. Motivational speaker Stephen Koluba describes Liberia as an aeroplane flying 171 years but does not know where it is heading. And away from Liberia, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has decided to allow oil exploration in two protected wildlife parks, Virunga and Salonga. We're taking a break. This time I will come back to bring you the voices of those making the news. Thanks for rejoining us. Liberty Party's Vice Chairman for Political Affairs Darius Dillon says the turnout at the government's Purple Day held at the CDC headquarters is a demonstration of disappointment. Mr. Dillon said the turnout was very poor, suggesting that those who voted the CDC to power are frustrated over the running of the country.
I spoke to their consciences so that they can inspire their confidence that while things are dull today, there ain't no danger today, the possibility that the light can shine tomorrow depends on how they conduct themselves today.
Is it things are dull?
Yeah, very dim and danger. The country is running downhill. The economy is practically in the toilet. The hardship increasing by the minute. And there is no telling about it. And this one is not political. It's the fact.
Mr. Dillon, you talk about the hardship the economy is currently faced with, and you telling the youth to remain hopeful. How do we want to interpret the hardship and the hope that the youth are going to live with now?
I also spoke to the mind of our government to begin to take some practical action. You see, you can't tell me to hold my stomach and then you having food wasting. Your stomach full and you're wasting the food, I can see it. It makes me angry. I mean, I'm giving a picture.
Yeah, what you mean to say?
You see government officials, you see the government has not put stop to any foreign travel, from the president down to assistant ministers, all of them traveling on government money. The government has not done anything robust in terms of austerity measure to mitigate this climate that we're in, the hardship.
Meanwhile, Dillon has revealed that President George Weah spent not less than $70,000 United States on every foreign travel.
The president himself not taking a dime for his money since he announced it on the day he delivered his first annual message. He has not reduced a dime for his money. The president traveled every time he traveled on charter flight, $60,000, $70,000 to $80,000 every time he travels out of the country. When Ellie travels, she used to be on one seat in a commercial flight.
So comparing the past regime to the current regime, what could be?
I hate to compare. Honestly, you see, it's unfair also to grade this government as a failure already in 6 months. It's unfair. The reason you see some of us can step up the issues against this government is they don't display maturity. What do I mean? Political maturity is far lacking in this administration.
The voice of Darius Dillon is the opposition Liberty Party's vice chairman for political affairs. Some partisans of the Coalition for Democratic Change have expressed their disenchantment over the manner and form the CDC Proper Day was being celebrated. The CDC partisans stated that the essence of the Proper Day was not met, noting that President Weah failed to utter a word to partisans who had gone for the occasion. Some partisans of the Coalition for Democratic Change expressing their disenchantment over the manner and form the CDC Proper Day was organized. To this next development, unknown persons have burglarized the office of the Central Agricultural Research Institute in Swakopmund County and made away with several valley boards. According to report, the criminals who arrived at the Carrots compound during the night hours of Saturday broke into all of the institute's offices and also made away with laptop computers, food, and other items. Our Bong County reporter, it's Melvin Stewart.
It was on Saturday's night
when this burglary took place, these unknown men entered the fence of the Central Agricultural Research Institute last evening and made away with several valuables, including a computer, laptop computer, and other stationaries as well. According to report, this morning I was called by the commander of the Bunker Police Detachment, Colonel Frederick Lippe, and what I heard from some of the people who came around was that there was just a security guard that was on post last night. And these people, these criminals, these notorious beings use an attire to give to this guy from Swakopmund Land. They bought it attire from Swakopmund Belt. From the Swakopmund Belt, and brought it to him, and he cleaned this attire and got so much intoxicated. And at the end result, at the end of the day, he had to just give up because he was abnormal, and that is the way out to get to the administrative building of Cary last night. And they made away with this machine undisclosed amount, because we heard from some of the workers that came, especially those that work in the finance office at Cary, there was an undisclosed amount that they tried to call, but they didn't call the actual amount that these guys took away last night. And the boss, the director general's office, Mark Jones, the boss's office last night and took some stationaries and misplaced some of his administrative documents as well. The person that was arrested was just a lady, one Christiana. She was arrested. According to her, when I talked to her, she said she's been in connection with one of the guys. She's a friend to this guy, and this guy is her boyfriend. They've been loving from last year, but they've been loving, they've been friends. But she didn't know that this guy was a kind of notorious being, because most of the time, this guy doesn't even receive the Baka. So she's currently behind Baka City, Bong County.
Melvin Stewart is OKFM's Bong County correspondent. A stalwart of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Cyril Island, says the CDC government will provide the enabling environment where citizens are empowered. Speaking to reporters at the CDC headquarters during the events marking its purport day, Island said with the limited number of presidential appointments, everybody will have government job.
Well, everybody cannot work for government. Government has a limited number of jobs, and there are limited number of functionaries that can serve. So people have to understand that. And as time go on, individuals will be co-opted into government. As scholarship programs come up, as training programs come up, our partisans will be considered. As industries begin to form, as construction work begin on roads and other things, librarians will be trained in various disciplines, and they will benefit as a feature. It is not to be nominated or named. Only a few people can be named by the president. There are very few presidential appointments. I think they are limited to about 112, 113 jobs that the president has under the statute. So everybody cannot be a part of that. But
Cyril Island is a stalwart of the Coalition for Democratic Change. OKFM Liberia News Director Julius Jed is calling on national government to make available ambulances to address emergency health situation in the country. Julius Jed made the call during a presentation of $66,550 Liberian dollars to Susan Conan, who lost her baby due to labor complication.
We got to hear about your situation through our brother here, Dixon Horace, that you had some issues of miscarriage and then there were other complications. So we had to raise some awareness and you were brought to the hospital. And then afterward, we heard that there were some issues with finances. So we appealed to Liberians on radio. And many of them made contributions through mobile money, and some went to our office. People who you don't know, you've not seen before, but they fell in love with you because of the situation that you went through. And so we were able to raise $66,500 plus for this, and we've already paid for the fees. So the rest of the money we are presenting it to you, some 50-something thousand plus if we do the math. So at least you can start up again with your life, whether it's business or whatever you choose to do. But it is from Liberians who took interest in your situation. We are grateful to God that you are alive and sound. We hope you can make good use of this. And this is a sign to show that we call on the government to help improve the health system of our country, so that ambulances can be able to go to many places, so that places like JFK can be upgraded more, so that people who do not have can also have access to free medical care. We know it is difficult. There are too many challenges, but we hope that all of these things, as time goes by, the country itself can get better. People can have a living. They can be able to work and earn their own money and even afford their own hospital bills. That's what we pray for. That's what we want to see happen.
Julius J. making a call during a presentation of $66,550 Liberian dollars to Susan Conan, who lost her baby due to labor complication. Meanwhile, Susan Conan has extended thanks and appreciation to OKFM Liberia and those who make contribution on her behalf.
They want them provide the money. I tell them thank you for helping me to move inside the hospital. And I tell them thank you to help me, even though I lost my baby, but I will take courage as long as they help me to move in the hospital. So I tell everybody of them who come and my help to move in the hospital, I tell them thank you very much.
The voice of Susan Conan. Motivational speaker Stephen Koluba has described Liberia as an airplane flying 171 years but does not know where it is heading. Motivational speaker Koluba said it is saddened for Liberia as a country to be trekking backward in terms of development.
Liberia is an aircraft seated 4 to 5 million people, 171 year flying, but yet not know the destination. It is sad. Liberia, like I said, is flying, but yet not know the destination. Such an aircraft will crash because at the end of the day, the fuel will be finished and still not know where to land. We are a nation that don't know where we are going. I am sad that I am not convinced with my government, both the past government and current government, to tell me where I'm going in the next 15 years. I feel scared for my children. 10 years from now, where will their life be? Where will we be as a nation? Poverty is at the increase.
Motivational speaker Stephen Koluba. Police Inspector General Patrick Sudu says that the low budgetary allotment is severely affecting the smooth operation of the Liberia National Police. Inspector General Sudu indicated that bulk of its budgetary allocation given aid by national government is for personal payment, while limited amount is spent for logistic purposes.
The police budget is 15 million, 15.9 million. Out of the 15.9 million, you have 14.2 something million for salary, 1.6 million to control the whole country for 1 calendar year. Is that sufficient for even 2-3 months? We don't have the logistics. No, brother, if you hear or not, I can tell you, if the government provide a needed logistics for the Liberia National Police, trust me, we on top of again will have professional men to uphold the security of this country. Everybody cannot take on the same profession at the same time. If we should have taken off this uniform and put you in this uniform, you will know the kind of pain I will go through. We don't sleep. We don't sleep. You find most of our retired officers, they are dying from pneumonia because they honor the rain 24/7, they honor the sun, no good medication, they are dying.
The voice of Police Inspector General Patrick Sudu. He spoke at an intellectual gathering during the weekend. Meanwhile, Conan Sudu told the gathering that the Liberian National Police is currently doing its investigation to ascertain the alleged gunfire by LMP officers during the incident seen at the Barnardsville Keba community.
What's the position of the shooter? Because if the shooter shot out from the front here, how can the bullet will go in, dig the skin off, and come out this way? It's never ever possible. Another thing that you look at, what is the distance
Because if we're talking about AK-47, the AK-47, it travels 350 meter per second. So it depending, even at the 150 range, or AK-47 bullet can kill you. So if people say she was close to the officer and they fire her, the velocity of Alexander Kalashnikov weapon is not an easy thing to bust the neck, to create a neck trauma, and that woman in the next 10 minutes she sit down on her bed like this.
The voice of Liberia's Police Inspector General Canon Patrick Sudu. House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers has told South African Ambassador accredited near Monrovia, Vanapaland Buchatamuli, that the government of Liberia will remain committed to working with the South African government for the coexistence of the long-standing bilateral relation between both countries. The head of the 54th National Legislature made their session during the weekend at its Capitol Building office when the South African ambassador accredited to Liberia paid a courtesy visit at its Capitol Building office.
Bilateral issues. So you have been very cordial, you have been very patriotic, you have been very Afrocentric in our discussion. And with that, we were very glad that you came here, and it's our hope that Liberia will always embrace the people of South Africa, the government of South Africa, as people who remain well for us, even the past elections. And South Africa was able to help us in that direction in terms of the transformation of Liberia after war. South Africa was very gracious to help us. So it goes without saying that the South African people are more or less our staunch allies in terms of humanity. So Mr. Ambassador, I want to
the voice of House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers. For his part, Ambassador Vanapaland Mutley lauded the government of Liberia for the sustenance of Liberia's fragile peace after the departure of the United Nations peacekeepers from Liberia.
As South Africa, we support Liberia's effort to raise people out of the current levels of poverty through the efforts of government's agenda. We also welcome the fact that Liberia is looking at improving the infrastructure and access to the people, particularly in those areas neglected in the past. And of course, I had mentioned to Honorable Chambers that we hope that the Liberian government does not squander the goodwill of its people and make sure that it does deliver on its promises to the poor of Liberia.
The voice of Ambassador Vanapaland Buchanan Moodley. He is the South African ambassador accredited to Liberia. Mansurado County District Town Representative Yaka Kaluba has broken silence on why he did not vote for the passage of the 2018-2019 national budget. Representative Kaluba is the only member of the 54th legislature who abstained from the passage of the budget but promised to make known his reasons to his constituents. Speaking to Okia for minutes following a meeting with community leaders during the weekend, the Mansurado lawmaker refused on the part of Representative Thomas Fala to brief members of the Mansurado Legislative Caucus, provoked his abstention.
You remember in Thursday session, I think Tuesday session where we went to where the budget will be passed, I abstained from the process and told the Liberian people when I meet with my people, I would tell them why I abstained from the process. Okay. I had meeting with my people today. You saw them. Yeah. You saw all the district. I mean, the chairman from the various communities, and they had to go back to tell the people that I have abstained from the process, and the reason I abstained from the process, the reasons are many. And we'll be informing the Liberian people on Monday while we're staying from the process.
The reasons are many.
Very, very.
Can you give us a few reasons?
Well, when you look at our route where Honorable Akara Grace talked about, before we suspend our route, each of the lawmakers supposed to have 24-hour invitation.
Okay.
To tell us that the rule will be suspended. and that was not done. You can just come to session and say, we suspend our rules, you know, to do this or do the other one. No, we got our rules book. And the rule says we should be served notice 24 hours before the rule is suspended. So that was not done. And a lot of things is done. A lot of things is in the budget that is not correct. You understand? We went when the defense budget hearing was to be heard, we went to the committee and told them we needed the defense committee budget hearing to be deferred. And that was done.
The voice of Manzarado District 10 Representative Yeke Koluba. The Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia, Emmanuel Gongwe, has frowned at the CDC-led government for what he calls its failure to address issues affecting the country. Gongwe said under the government of President George Weah, hospitals are closing down as a result of fuel to run generators.
We will put stop to George Weah becoming president again because we will deny ourselves the food. We will deny ourselves the luxury to wear good cars. We will move in the community every day and we will let our people to know that you made the initial mistakes. That's why the U.S. rate is chasing our country age. It is too sad for a country and it is too sad that we experienced a few months ago that certain group of people said they were about to change our country and make Liberia better. Sided, running the country where hospitals are shutting down because we cannot have fuel in our generators. While Liberians are suffering and dying because of miserable leadership, we overheard that few misguided individuals are around Lone Star Cell celebrating what they call Pro-Bowl Day. In my life, I came from an NGO background. I know before you celebrate what you call Pro-Bowl or what you call achievement.
Meanwhile, Emmanuel Gongwe has disclosed that his movement would soon embark on an agriculture project in Gbapulu County in order to provide food for the less fortunate.
Few months from now, the EFFL will embark on a very big agricultural project in Gbapulu County. I want to see the women of the economic freedom fighters going to Gbapulu, picking up our peppers and bringing it to the market to sell. That's what I want to see. I want to see us going to Gbapulu and bringing corn back to the market to sell. I want us to be an institution that can be able to send people to school. I want us to be an institution that when the government says, or the hospital says, we do not have fuel in Phoebe, we can be able to buy fuel, gallons of fuel, to take it to the hospital so that our people cannot die. Sir!
Emmanuel Gongwe is the Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia. The densely populated suburb of Raleigh, though on the weekend, was a scene of protest and uproar as members of the University of Liberia's Student Unification Party of Raleigh and led thousands of marketers and street peddlers in demand of government's immediate intervention pertaining to the rising exchange rate since soccer legend George Weah took over as president of Liberia. The action by the student group saw traffic being blocked as marketers chanted slogans saying, speaking to journalists, the leader of the protest, who is the Secretary General of the Student Unification Party, Martin Colley, said the government of President Weah is intentionally ignoring the extreme hardship of the masses as a result of its refusal to find concrete and sustainable remedies to the high exchange rate in the country.
A clear caveat to the government of the Republic of Liberia under the hegemony of His Excellency President George Manuel Weah that our people from Maserado to Maryland are catching hard time as a result of exchange rate volatility and inflation. We want to call on the government of President Weah. This pro-poor government must immediately intervene. Otherwise, all of our people could perish as a result of economic paralysis. We want to inform President Weah, if this is a pro-poor government, it must be demonstrated through action in our war. In the coming days, with the mandate of our chairman, Comrade Budu Liva, the students will rally the people of Liberia and we will demand immediate intervention from relevant government authorities, especially the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Liberia. They need to intervene in the market. We understand that market forces are interplaying. However, this government was elected on a popular mandate, and the mandate was to transform the living condition of our people. You cannot tolerate that appalling and dejecting condition on the basis that you have no solution about what is happening now. We believe that one of the reasons the people had to retire the Unity Party was because they felt that President Weah had solution to this current socio-economic quagmire. As Secretary General of the Student Unification Party, we want to send this message to President Weah and his cohort of deputies that SUP will not sit in this particular time and age to allow our people's interest and destiny to dissipate in thin air.
Martin Khalid is the Secretary General of the Student Unification Party at the University of Liberia. The acting chairman of the District Development Council of Monserrado District 10, Edwin Goodrich, says his leadership has transformed the council to an inviolable organization. Mr. Goodrich said DDC is the most formidable in the country owing to its structure, as other councils have started modeling theirs after the DDC of District 10.
Unprecedentedly, we have a constitution now endorsed by the council, and we interest you to know that the DDC of District 10, Monserrado County, is one of the most formidable in its structure. We have extended the structure and the seats on the council, whereas in the past, and according to what we've read of other constitution, other DDC constitution, the constitution of other DDC, is that it was only comprising of the chairpersons of communities, the marketing association, the student, teacher and whatnot. But what we have done, in the constitution of the DDC District 10, Monserrado County, we have extended the membership now to include, besides the 32 chairpersons of the 32 communities within the district, we have also included stakeholder groupings. Number one, we got the women of the district.
Edwin Goodrich is the acting chairman of the District Development Council of Monserrado District number 10. Several local leaders of Lofa County have been inducted into offices. At the induction ceremony on Friday, Superintendent William Tambakamba cautioned the local officials against disunity and other vices that will hinder needed developments in the county. Our Lofa County correspondent is Johnson Nopula. He has the detail.
Those inducted include the Assistant Superintendent for Development, Samia Mulba, the Assistant Superintendent for Fiscal Affairs, Fomo M. Gama, the Deputy Mayor, Madam Otto Harris, County Inspector Balawala Colleague Lee, and as well as the Living Commissioner, Honorable Papa K. Jaram. They were endorsed this on Friday by the county superintendent. During the induction, the superintendent called on all of them to use their various offices so that they all can work together as a team to make sure that local county regain its status as the breadbasket of Liberia, because that is one of the messages that the county superintendent continues to preach, that he is going to prioritize when it comes to giving the county those values, regaining those values that were lost. Indeed, you had kings and elders from various districts, represented commissioners as well, other members of the other leaders of the other districts came and graced the occasion. You also have sons and daughters that are in Monrovia there, and they came as well to grace the occasion. The occasion went well, and people on the overall it went very successful.
Johnson Nopula is OKFM's Lofa County correspondent. Let's take our final local development and then we'll bring you the international ones. A school administrator has said the lack of passion for the field of education by school administrators and lack of qualified teachers are key factors affecting the education sector in the country. Pastor Theophilus Savis, principal of the Creative Voice Academy, said school administrators are only after what they can get, while teachers are not willing to make sacrifices for their career, noting that it is undermining the sector.
As Liberians, do our education today can show a proof of hope for our non-future society. as it relates to us achieving a cultural values, progressive economy through proper organization structure. Yet, my fellow parents, I have a deep fear for our Liberian education today. If we can achieve these social and societal variables, my fear came a wake of few factors that are threatening today Liberian education. And may I submit these factors that wake me into fear when it comes to Liberian education today. Factor number one, proprietors and proprietors motive. Factor number two, educators or teachers motive. Factor number three, parents motive. And factor number four, student motive.
Pastor Theophilus Savage was speaking Sunday at the 4th graduation program of the Creative Voice Academy in Pennsville City. Let's rejoin Olive Stevenson to bring us the foreign news.
The government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has decided to allow oil exploration in two protected wildlife parks, Virunga and Salonga. The move is strongly opposed by environmental activists who said drilling will place wildlife at risk and contribute to global warming. Around 150 of Virunga's National Park will be open to oil drilling. The parks are home for bush elephants, critically endangered mountains gorillas, and the bonobo, an endangered ape. Both parks are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, with Salonga National Park covering 36,000 square kilometers, 13,900 square miles of the Congo Basin, the world's second largest rainforest after the Amazon. The government has defended its right to authorize drilling anywhere in the country, saying in a statement that it is mindful of protecting animals and plants in the two parks. And a notorious gangster has escaped by helicopter from a prison in the Paris region, the French authorities said. Rodin Fall was helped by three heavily armed men who created a diversion at a prison entrance while the helicopter landed in the courtyard. The helicopter flew to the nearby Gonesse area, where it was found by local police. Fard, 46, has been serving a 25-year sentence for a failed robbery during which a police officer was killed. This is his second prison break. In 2013, he escaped after seizing 4 guards as he was shot and blowing several doors off with dynamite. He staged the escape less than half an hour after arriving at a prison in Northern France and spent 6 weeks on the run. He claimed to have turned his back on criminality, but a year later was involved in a failed robbery, which he was serving a sentence at a prison in Roule in Seine-Marin region. Fats and his accomplice escaped from prison courtyard, which was not protected by a net without injuring anyone. That's it for foreign developments.
And that's how we take leave of you on this edition of News Netanokia from 99.5. Just before leaving you, a reminder of our top stories. Opposition politician Darius DeLone says the poor turnout at the government's Propo Day is a demonstration of disappointment by citizens as CDC partisans blasts President Weah for not uttering a word to those who are gone for the occasion. 22-year-old girl electrocuted in Glembasa County, while unknown persons burglarized the offices of Carried in Swakopmund County, making away with several valuables. OKFM Liberia News Director Julius J. calls on national government to make available ambulances to address emergency health situation in the country while making a donation to a sovereign woman. Motivational speaker Stephen Koluba describes Liberia as an aeroplane flying 171 years but does not know where it is heading. And the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has decided to allow oil exploration in two protected wildlife parks, Virunga and Salonga. Olive Stevenson was there with the news bulletin and also brought you the international news. Eddie Poonen ably handled the order of the sounds. The voice of Hope in Plebo, Maryland County relayed this edition. For more news, you can log on to www.okfmlr.com/Facebook OKFM Liberia. Better still, 99.5 MHz. Or you download our application from Google Play Store and keep listening. My name is Augustine Bilkali. Thanks for listening and watching.